You guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me? Hey, Linda, let me know if you guys can hear me. Um, unfortunately, I've been talking now for the last 15 minutes and nobody can hear me. So, guys, let me know if you can hear me. Halene, is it okay? Can you guys hear me? We have a little audio difficulties here. Sorry about that. Okay, good. So, thank you so much, guys. But as I was saying, if you guys didn't hear that, because unfortunately my audio was messed up, um, but I wanted to let you know, once you guys give us a call or set up a one-on-one meeting with us, okay? Because if you've watched any of our shows, you probably noticed, like, hey, at the end of our presentation where we've shown you about the Kyminasi Plant Booster, we've shown you some of the results that we're seeing on farms all over the world. You're probably wondering to yourself, well, what happens when I call them? Are they just going to try to pitch me? Are they going to try to sell me something and sell me their product and do some kind of hard sales pitch? Reality is when we do one-on-one meetings with people, the first thing we do is find out more about you and your farm and your situation. Not every farm is the same, not every situation is the same, right? Some farmers are really interested in reducing their fertilizer costs. Obviously, that's a big button now. A lot of people with the rising cost of fertilizers are looking to save money on fertilizers. Some people, though, are looking to just increase their yield because that's their top line revenue. Other people are looking to improve quality measurements like bricks rating or shelf life or other things because they're having issues with that. Some people want insect resistant, and if you watched our presentations, you know that our technology, just by making plants healthier and improving plant metabolism, we're accomplishing all of these different things on farms. But we really want to focus in on what's most important to you and how our system and our product can help you. But the other thing that we do is a cost benefit analysis. Now, the spreadsheet you see on my screen here is an example of a cost benefit calculator. Now, what we do here is we walk through step by step if the different calculations. So most farmers, of course, they know what their yield is, they know what their input costs are and these things. So what we say is, look, we already know what our technology can do. We've already seen this hundreds and hundreds of times. We've seen thousands of different farmers just singing our praises. We've seen hundreds of different examples of, insect resistance improvements, fungal resistance improvements, disease resistance improvements, soil health, water savings, all these different factors, right? So we do this calculation from an economic standpoint to help farmers understand the benefits of our technology, because it's really easy to look at a product, especially if it's something you haven't seen before, and just say, oh, well, this product costs $50, but that seems really expensive. If that's the only information you had about a product, and you say this is $50 or it's $500 or it's $5,000, right? If all you have is the cost of something, you have no real context with which to put that price tag. In other words, you can't really figure out what am I going to get for that investment of money. So we do this cost benefit analysis with each farmer we talk to. So if you guys want to give us a call at 727-324-6750 or send us an email, and I'll put our email address here. And you can always email us too at service@harvestharmonics.com. So if you email us and request a meeting with us, what you're going to see is probably a short presentation. We're going to talk with you and discuss your situation. We'll probably focus in on a few examples of where we're improving areas of that ruin. So let's say a farmer calls us up and he's got these tremendous insect problems and he's losing 30% of his crops. So we say, okay, good. Let's show you how the Kyminasi Plant Booster can help you with that. We really focus in on those examples and the reasons why our technology can help with insect resistance. But after that, again, we guarantee that our product is going to make you more money. So we do a cost benefit analysis to really just illustrate and show you how much more money you can make with this. And guys, if you guys want to run through a cost benefit analysis here live with me, you can do that. You don't have to give us your name or contact information. This is more for our personal follow-up, but I'm happy to do this with you. But I just kind of want to walk you through. Let's just say I was the farmer, right? And I was talking this, and I'm not going to give you guys my phone number. Actually, I will here. I'll give you my direct line phone number in case you guys want to contact me. So there you go. So if you guys want to contact me, call me at that number. I'm happy to talk with you. Place is USA. And then let's just say we're talking about oranges, okay? Oranges, okay. Now, the way we do this with the farmer is we first ask the farmer for, how many acres do you have, right? And so let's say they say I have 100 acres. Okay, the next question we're going to say is, okay, how much are you currently spending in terms of input costs on your farm? And here we're talking mainly about fertilizers and pesticides. We don't really count seeds. We don't count labor because those factors tend to be more fixed costs, right? Your fuel cost, your equipment costs, your land leasing cost, your seed cost. I mean, most of that stuff is going to stay the same. Or if you're like have oranges, they're a perennial crop anyway, you're not going to have seed costs. So let's just say the farmer tells us, well, we're spending about let's $700 an acre per year on fertilizers and pesticides. So we say, okay, good. Let me ask them, how many pounds per acre per year are you getting? Now, in the case of citrus, they don't use pounds, so sometimes we'll adjust this. Example, for citrus, it would be boxes, right? Boxes per acre per year, right? And then we would change this to price per box. So I don't know, it depends on the type of citrus. If you're growing oranges for orange juice, you're going to look at pound solids, right? Pound solids is the amount of pulp and the amount of juice that is found in the oranges. And, you know, just because you might have 600 boxes of oranges, you know, in a good crop, your pound solids might be much higher, and your Brix rating, which is your sweetness, might be much higher. In a bad year, you can still have 600 boxes, but maybe the pound solids and the sugar content and the juice content in the oranges are much lower. So most of the juice growers are actually getting paid on the pound solids, not the boxes. So we might say pound solids per acre instead of you know, boxes. But let's just stay with boxes here. And let's say, I mean, here in Florida, they're actually only getting a couple hundred, but let's say, we'll just go with Florida. So let's say it's 200. Now, if you're growing citrus anywhere else in the world, that number is probably going to be more like 500 boxes, you know, per acre per year or something like that. But here in Florida, they have an HLB and they have a big problem. So that's a separate issue. So now we say, okay, how much are you getting per box? And let's say they say we're getting $30 per box. Okay. That's actually, I haven't looked at this recently, but that's actually, you know, a fair average, right? So the $30 a box, they might get 40. If you're organic, you might get more than that, but let's say it's $30 a box. Now, the next column here, we usually skip over for now, okay? That's how much we can save you in terms of your fertilizer and your pesticide costs. And then the next calculation here is extra production. Now you see this defaults to 20%. Now, the reason we default this at 20% is because the Kyminasi Plant Booster consistently and routinely produces 20% and more production on every crop, every farm we test this on. So when people look at, sometimes they look at just the price tag and they ask us, well, why don't you give your price out here on national broadcast? It's because if all you had was the price tag and you didn't know what you were getting for that, then the first inclination would be, well, that's way too expensive. Because if you compare this to like a nitrogen fertilizer, yes, we're more expensive than nitrogen. Although not now. Nowadays, nitrogen is probably more expensive than we are. But on a general level, when nitrogen's at $300 a ton, you know, our system might be a little more expensive than that. But everything that it does is 10 times more than nitrogen does. So, you know, adding nitrogen fertilizer might get you a 5 to 10% bump, but our system is doing 20 to 30% bump. So let's just keep it at 20%. And now we see what we have here. So based upon those numbers that I just created, again, we're happy to do these. We do these live with farmers. We actually ask the farmer, how much are you currently producing? You know, how many boxes per year, how much your price per box, and then we calculate that on a percentage basis, how much money they're making. So at 500 boxes times 30 boxes, that's $1,500 per acre is what their current top line revenue is, right? Now, if I increase their production by 20%, which is a routine example with my technology, that means I'm going to generate an extra 100 boxes. So they're going to get 600 boxes total, right? That's what that number is, right? At $30 a box, that's going to generate an extra revenue of $3,000 per acre, right? On a per acre. Now, here we put the price of our system in, and let me just put, I'll put that in a second. And then at 20%, we just do the calculation. This is how much extra we're going to produce. This is the cost of our system. And this is how much extra money you'll get. So let's just say hypothetically, we charge $500 per acre, right? So that would mean if I charge $500 per acre for this farm, then the cost of my system will last for 2 years. So the cost of my system would be $250 a year per acre. And when you subtract the extra production minus the cost, that's the actual profit. So this farmer, if these numbers were correct for this farm, they would make $2,750 more per acre with their oranges with Kyminasi Plant Booster. Now, because they have 100 acres, that means in the first year they're going to profit $275,000. And over a 2-year period, they're going to have 550,000. So if I charge 500 an acre times 100 acres, that's an investment of $50,000, right? Now, $50,000 investment is going to net them $550,000 in additional profit, not revenue, but profit. Whereas they're going to pay for my system. That number is actually 600,000, by the way. Like if I gave it to them for free, which I'm not going to do, but let's say if I gave it to them for free, they'd make $600,000 over 2 years. But at $500 an acre, they're investing 50,000. So for an investment of 50,000, they're going to make 11 times that initial investment in terms of additional profit. So they're going to pay for my system and make an extra 11 times return on investment. Now, let's just say if I decided that I was going to just try to make as much money with Kyminasi Plant Booster as I possibly could, and I wasn't interested in making farmers profitable. I just wanted to make as much money as I possibly could with this technology. Now, if a salesman had carte blanche to charge whatever they want, right? Most salesmen would look at numbers like this and say, well, you know what? Most farmers, if I got them a 5 times return on investment, they would be super happy. So I'm not going to charge them 500 an acre. I'm going to charge them 1,000 per acre. Now that means that their net cost is going to be 100,000. But if my technology produces 20%, they're still going to make $500,000. So they're still going to make a 5x return on investment, and I'm going to pocket an extra 50,000. Now, just so you know, we don't do that here, but I'm just using this for illustration. But let's put this back at a $500 per acre. Now, here's the other side of the equation. Here's the other reason we can do a cost benefit analysis. Now, when you're a farmer and you look at your fixed costs, right? Your cost of seed, cost of equipment, cost of fuel, cost of land, all these things are fixed costs that don't really change, no matter how much revenue. So if you tripled your yield, if instead of 20%, I put 300%, right? Or let's say if I said you're going to make 3 times as much yield this year as you did last year. If I was able to deliver that, and if you think that's crazy, well, let's put this more at a high end of what we've actually done. So let's just say actually 165. So we had a grape farmer that made 165% increase in yield, right? So it actually was so high, it actually caused this to go on. Okay, so believe it or not, we had a grape farmer get 165% increase in yield on their farm. And they had the same, this was actually, I think what we charged, we might have charged them like $600. I think we charged them $600 an acre because this was down in a different region. But at $600 an acre, which would sound like crazy expensive if that's all you knew about our technology. But at $600 an acre, we made this guy $24,000 more per acre after he paid for our device. He paid for our system. He made $24,000 an acre. No, he didn't have 100 acres. He only had 20 acres, but still, 24,000 an acre times 20 acres is 489,000. And he made almost $1 million on a 20-acre block. One 20-acre block, this farmer made almost $1 million more in a 2-year period. The system that we have is so far above and beyond anything that farmers produce that they need to see this visually. And sometimes we don't really go through this with farmers because we want different farms are different. Now, this is like a specialty type crop, right? Strawberries, grapes, blueberries. I mean, you'll see numbers like this. You may not see numbers like 165%, but heck, even at 30%, you'll see numbers like 30%. You'll see numbers like 40%, right? We'll actually see numbers like this routinely, where they're making 5,000 an acre, 4,000 an acre, 3,000 an acre, and they're only investing 500-600 an acre with us. So there are farmers making this kind of money, and they're routinely making this kind of money. If you're a specialty grower, these numbers are very, very doable. In fact, we have a lot of guys doing this right now. So let's just take, again, we'll put this back at 100 here. And now we're going to take, now we're going to look at, let's go, drop this back down to 20%, okay? So now we're going to look at the other side of it. If all of your costs are fixed except for your fertilizer and your pesticide use, what happens now? Just so you know, by the way, $700. This is more like $1,000 for a citrus grower right now. Maybe it's actually $1,200. No, we'll just keep it at 1,000. So a lot of growers right now, because of the cost of nitrogen, are paying $1,000 an acre. So let me show you this. So what if I could save that farmer 30% of his fertilizer bill? That number just jumped up, didn't it? So that number just jumped up from 2750 to 3050. So he made an extra 300 an acre. Now let's look at what happens when I save him on his fertilizer cost. He went from 500,000 to 600,000. He just put an extra $100,000 in his pocket. And if you think saving 30% of fertilizer cost is unreal, we have farmers doing this all the time. We have farmers that are getting 50% savings. You know, imagine if I only got you a 5% increase in yield, but I reduced your cost by 50%. You're still going to pay for my device and make double that in return. That's if I almost do nothing on the yield side. But I'm doing these calculations so you guys understand that Kyminasi Plant Booster is a revolution in agriculture. It's a revolution because our system does not just make small incremental changes to your output or small incremental reductions on your input costs. Our system is making plants much, much, much more efficient, and it's allowing farmers to make a ton of money. And if you are tired of spending all of your money on fertilizers and giving your money away to all the banks and the fertilizer companies and all these other companies, and you want to put some more money in your pocket, give us a call at 727-324-6750. I can walk you through a cost benefit analysis just like that for your farm and your crop and your region, and we'll set up a system that's going to make you a ton more money this year and set you up for future years where you'll be using less and less inputs and getting more and more yield because your farm is just going to continue to get more and more efficient. I hope to hear from you guys soon. I love to talk with each and every one of you, so please give me a call or send me an email, and we'll be in touch very soon.